Greetings, my friend. My name is Davidson, Dr. Joseph G. Davidson of Equinox Mountain in Manchester, Vermont. My business is industry and chemistry. At the request of some of my friends, I accepted the presidency of the Connecticut River Watershed Council, which is dedicated to the conservation and development of the resources of the Connecticut River Valley. The council was organized in 1952. In order to learn my job as president of the council and to help formulate a progressive program for the organization, my girlfriend and I decided to make the 410-mile trip down the river from the source to the sea. We made the trip by trail, by canoe, by airplane, by powerboat, by car, and by motor ship. This trip on the Connecticut from the source to the sea opened our eyes to the treasure of the valley and some of the ways it is being destroyed through man's carelessness and lack of concern for the future of his own kind. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Davidson, my girlfriend, the lovely and patient lady who shared with me the 7-day rigorous trip on the river. This film is dedicated to the hundreds of valley people who helped make our trip possible and who chatted with us as we moved down this friendly river to the sea. To reach the exact source of the Connecticut, which is a mountain pool high in the vastness of New England's last wilderness, we traveled from Second to Third Lake. These lakes are famed for their fishing and hunting. It is a steep climb up to Fourth Lake, hidden in a forest near the top of Mount Prospect, which divides the United States from Canada. Our guide was Harry Scott of Camp Idlewild. This fourth lake of the Connecticut River, seldom visited by man, is the fountainhead of the stream. Here we were 2,551 feet above Long Island Sound and 500 feet above Third Lake. Between us and Long Island Sound lay one of the hardest working rivers in the United States. And to be sure, the purity of the river water has suffered from civilized uses. The expedition filled jugs and brought them downstream to show the purity of the water where the river begins. It came in handy when we preached the council's gospel of pollution control. From spring to late fall, there is boating on the Connecticut lakes. The sportsmen use the power boats, but there is fun for the traveler in rowboats, and if a guide is along, in a canoe. Our expedition, after a day's tour of the lakes by boat and by air, bade farewell to the lake people. The party saw many of the famous camps on the way to First Lake. Camp Otter has been noted for many years as a sportsman's refuge. All the Connecticut lakes and Lake Francis, a New Hampshire impoundment of the river for power and flood control, are located in Pittsburgh, once the colorful domain known as the United Inhabitants of Indian Stream Republic. The inhabitants maintained a republic here for 30 years before joining up with New Hampshire in 1829. From Pittsburgh to Groveton, New Hampshire, the river was unboatable in September due to low river flow. This pile of pulpwood is a key to the economy of the region. At Groveton, the party used the canoe again. The governor of Vermont, Robert Stafford, came over from Montpelier to greet the river travelers. The heartiness of the welcome was somewhat spoiled by the odor coming from a nearby municipal sewer. Here at Guildhall, we were met by members of the White Mountain Boat Club of Littleton, New Hampshire. Many folks stood on the bridge between Guildhall and Northumberland and gave the party a friendly farewell. Our appreciation of the beauty of the river as we left Guildhall was marred by many evidences of man's mistreatment of his natural treasure. A nearby town empties all of its raw sewage into this stream. We may exaggerate somewhat, but certainly the gas mass helped us get through some trying mileage in this section of the Connecticut. The automobile wrecks we saw were used by farmers at springtime in efforts to save their valuable farmlands, gradually being eroded by the river. This is Yankee ingenuity which people on the Mississippi are copying. After a pleasant cruise down the remaining miles of the pond behind the Gilman Paper Dam, we reached an early rung in the ladder of dams which partly control the flow of the river. The lakes created by the various dams on the river make it possible to enjoy summer boating on about 70% of the river above tide water. This was the first portage for the expedition. It gives the boatman a chance to see that it is not too difficult, if he has the right equipment, as our boat club hosts did, to haul out his craft, transport it, and then relaunch. Gilman is behind us. Now on Moore Reservoir, the expedition enjoyed the facilities created by the newest and largest hydroelectric impoundment on the Connecticut River. A fine lake of natural beauty, an asset to the entire region, has been created here. There are excellent facilities provided for boaters and recreation seekers here. I believe this area has one of the highest future potentials for recreational development in the North Country. The new interstate highways, whether by design or not, will bring thousands of visitors into this fertile recreation area. Recreational dollars already are exceeding agricultural income in Vermont and New Hampshire. The party had a good glimpse of the new Moore Dam, New England's largest hydroelectric development. In the morning mists, the party boarded the Littleton Club boat, skippered by one of the members, and proceeded south through uncharted waters to Hartford, New Hampshire. Here we held a picnic at an area provided by the town. We even used some of the branch water from the Fourth Lead. The ingenuity of design and the materials in these boats, which helped carry the party down the river, intrigued all of us. Financing of boats by commercial loans in the banks of the valley has become an important business. The Connecticut, in its more dangerous moments, leaves its mark. The flood height marker at Hartford we saw is actually a half-mile from the river. Ancient covered bridges still dot the lovely landscape of the valley. From Cow Meadows, it is 43 miles to Hanover, New Hampshire, on beautiful Wilder Lake. This is where the Dartmouth College boys embark on their annual spring canoe run of the river. John Ledyard, student of Dartmouth, made the first run in 1772 in a log canoe. On the rocks of Sumner Falls, feared even by the redoubtable Major Robert Rogers, we had our only accident. Our boat was stove in, and we were stranded in the river, but only for a while. Inclement weather for flying prevented the governor of New Hampshire from meeting us at Charleston Dock, but others were there. Across the river in Springfield, the party watched construction of the North Springfield Flood Control Dam, one of a system of about 25 proposed for the protection of the Connecticut Valley. Of these, 7 are finished, 4 are under construction, and plans are slowly going forward for completion of the system of flood control dams. Many local protection works, including dikes, walls, channels, and pumping stations, have been installed at various cities located along the Connecticut River in Massachusetts and Connecticut. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is in charge of this major phase of valley protection. The people in the watershed have supported this program by setting up the Connecticut River Flood Control Commission under an interstate compact agreement. Additional flood prevention work is being done by the Soil Conservation Service. Civilization's inroads on the floodplains of the valley have created problems, and often serious destruction has arisen because of these inroads during flood emergencies. We noted many instances of this as we went southward. From Bellows Falls, where we breakfasted, we began our 4th day of the tour by powerboat and made the short hop to Brattleboro. The railroad bridge reminded the expedition members of the importance of this mode of transportation to the valley. We had been cordially received and were royally entertained everywhere in the valley, but this was different. The Commodore of the Brattleboro Boat Club greeted us. Aboard steamboat, the River Queen, only one on the Connecticut, we arrived at the Brattleboro landing, unfortunately located directly over an open sewer. Local interests plan to eliminate this health problem. The high school band was waiting for us, and my girlfriend and I thought this was a high point of our trip. Our friends in the West River Valley Association, the Brattleboro Chamber of Commerce, and Friends for Clean Waters gathered for another report on our findings. Their program includes correction of the sewer discharge. The recreational possibilities of the Connecticut Valley are unlimited. We discussed this matter at Vernon Dam near the Massachusetts-Vermont line with Charles H. Foster, Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Natural Resources, and Charles McLaughlin, Director of the Massachusetts Fisheries and Game Division. They agreed that pollution abatement is a major factor in utilizing the recreational facilities of Massachusetts. Mr. Foster represented the Governor of Massachusetts and welcomed us to the Bay State. Aboard Franklin County Boat Club cruises, we saw one of the most scenic reaches of the river. At one time, overhead was the famous French King Bridge, where the Mohawk Trail begins. The further south we went, the larger the marinas became. At Turner's Falls, over 200 boats are docked at the well-equipped marina, and the boat club has 400 members. Below Turner's Falls, we made another test of the quality of the river water. Our amateur findings verified for us at least the judgment of the New England Interstate Water Pollution Control Commission that these waters belong in Class D, or unfit for any type of recreational use. This commission is classifying the waters of the Connecticut as well as other New England rivers. Under federal and state laws, the pollution abatement program is progressing. One of our objects in the Connecticut River Watershed Council is to keep the program rolling along to completion. In addition to sewage treatment, local communities can help by eliminating some unsightly dumps along the river which spoil beautiful vistas. A new landmark on the river is the Holyoke Water Power Company Mount Tom steam plant. This approximately $30 million power producer adds new sinews to the industry of the valley, and our hard-working river is largely responsible for its location. Mayor Samuel Resnick of Holyoke and others met the party and showed us Mount Tom, an outstanding geological feature of the valley. We saw the unique fish lift designed to aid the spring migration upriver of the Connecticut River shad. At Springfield, they pulled a boat out of the river and showed us the effect of polluted water on a craft after only 2 weeks. It was a rainy day at Bassett Dock. The party cruised south to Enfield, where we saw the interstate highway, Route 91, under construction. Springfield was a leader in the construction of a sewage disposal unit in the 30s under former Mayor Putnam's administration. Now that federal funds are available to subsidize a portion of construction of sewage treatment plants, other cities and towns are following Springfield's examples. Former Mayor Putnam was with Mayor O'Connor and others who waited in the rain at the dock for our already drenched party. No river trip is complete without a stop at the famous Windsor Locks. These locks were built in 1829, and they gave the town its name. The locks have been in continuous operation since their construction. To make a close-up inspection of agricultural problems caused by river erosion, the party was conducted by Connecticut River Watershed Council directors and officials of the town of South Windsor. Erosion is eating into farmland, and we hope that someday this destruction can be reduced, if not eliminated. At Holyoke and South Hadley, several thousand feet of rock-fill riprap has halted this type of severe bank erosion. Waiting at Wethersfield Cove for the party on the final day of the tour was the Shellfish, experimental boat of the Division of the Shell Fisheries of the state of Connecticut. Before boarding our ship, we met representatives of the newspapers, TV stations, and radio stations. By this time, we had begun to find out how well these media had told the story of our river exploration trip. They gave us generous time and space for the tour, which we had undertaken to learn our job and to deliver a message. Naturally, we are grateful to these gentlemen and ladies of the press. Lieutenant Governor John Dempsey, representing Governor Abraham Ribicoff, 30 distinguished Connecticut state officials, council members, and friends boarded the Shellfish with us. The Shellfish had never been as far north as Wethersfield before, and the skipper kept a wary eye on the channel. At one time, in this channel, the fathometer registered 0, but fortunately we did not run aground. Increased use of the river by larger boats may eventually demand deeper channel clearance. Connecticut hosts made this, our last day on the river, a comfortable one. We were all tired but relaxed and enjoyed a buffet lunch and other refreshments aboard ship. After the shellfish reached safer water, I had a chance to talk with the skipper and look over his charts. This section of the river is 45 miles from the sea and could afford Hartford and central Connecticut the opportunity for further tidewater navigation development. On our way, we passed barges, which carry some 3 million tons of petroleum northward to Hartford each year. High overhead was the Middletown Bridge, awarded an international prize for the beauty of its design. Hundreds of pleasure boats dance on the waters of the estuary of the Middletown Marina. Surprisingly, we found the lower Connecticut improved in quality as we neared the sea. A contributing factor, no doubt, was the effect of the long-term pollution abatement program of all Connecticut Valley states. Even in this beautiful region, the river is at work, furnishing the water for industry and for steam power plants. Almost too soon for us, so pleasant was the cruise and the company, Essex appeared over our bow. Our trip was nearing an end, but there was one more transfer. We boarded a fast 35-foot sea skiff, Sparky. Lieutenant Governor Dempsey joined our party on the trip to Saybrook Light and Long Island Sound. The sun, which had stayed hidden most of the afternoon, came out to shine on the end of our tour from the source to the sea. This trip is done, but there is much work ahead for all of us. We in the Connecticut River Watershed Council have for 7 years been working in the valley to help eliminate flood danger, to end river pollution, to promote recreation, to curtail land erosion, to protect our forests from fire. Our eventual goal is a beautiful valley in which our citizens can live, work, and play in healthy, happy surroundings. We in the council need your help to accomplish these goals. Won't you please join us by lending assistance, both financial and moral, in the hard job ahead?